Welcome to Midnight Murmurs, a place for quiet stories, strange memories, and gentle fear. Are you ready to listen in the dark? I can still remember the first time I felt the chill of something unseen brushing against my skin, wrapping around me like a cold whisper in the dead of night. I was young then, perhaps 8 or 9, and living in a small, creaky house that felt as though it was breathing. The shadows danced playfully on the walls, especially when the wind howled through the trees outside, making the thin walls tremble with every gust. It was comforting in a way, easy to dismiss the skittering sounds, the soft whispers of the past, which seemed to blend seamlessly with the wind. Every night I would tiptoe to the kitchen to drink a glass of water, careful not to wake my parents. Most nights I would feel an ache in my chest, a mix of familiarity and unease. I would often glance at the old wooden staircase that creaked under its own weight, casting long, inviting shadows onto the floor. There was something about those shadows, a softness that made me want to reach out, perhaps to brush my fingers against the darkness hiding in the corners. On one particularly quiet night, I met him. The air was heavy, thick with scents of metal and something sweet yet decaying. The old pipes beneath the sink made the house sing in eerie tones. As I stood by the window, gazing out at the moonlit garden, I saw a shape lurking just beyond the glass. I squinted, noting the way it folded into the shadows, like a secret being drawn tightly to the fabric of night. His form was nebulous, almost as if stitched from the darkness itself, every edge blurred and unfocused. I could feel my heart beating faster. He watched me as I gazed, an overwhelming comfort radiating from the unseen watcher. A soft smile tugged at my lips, but he seemed to fade away. The moment lingered in memory, the oddity of feeling safe in the company of something so unknowable. Years have passed since that night, buried under memories like leaves scattering in the fall. Yet the feeling has never really left me. Little moments began surfacing like echoes. Sometimes when I was alone at night, feeling a gentle brush against my shoulder, a chill that rolled like a whisper along my spine, I became familiar with the softness of those lost souls wandering between worlds, caught in the liminal spaces of time. I began to collect stories, readings of others who felt the same. It seemed only fitting to share, to whisper the secrets of soft-spoken ghosts. Each tale slipped into my heart like coins in a well. Each story held the faintest shimmer of life. One woman spoke of a grandfather she had never seen. She described how, late at night, she would hear soft laughter, muted as if shared among old friends. When she closed her eyes, the laughter became accompanied by the rustling of fabric, the echo of creaking floorboards, as if he were there, an inviting presence in her dimly lit room. It felt, in a way, like he watched over her. Another soul shared a haunting moment in an old library, dimly lit and filled with the smell of aging pages. He had wandered through the aisles, lost in forgotten words, when he felt a light tug on his sleeve. Turning, he found himself face to face with a little girl in a yellow dress. Her eyes twinkled with mischief, and she pointed toward a book high on a shelf, just out of reach. But as he held out his hand to help her, she vanished, leaving nothing but the sound of whispering pages behind. As I listened to these stories, these gentle hauntings, I felt a shiver of recognition in each. It was a familiar sensation, a shared understanding of what it meant to field questions about the unseen, about shadows lingering at the edges of the light. Days turned into nights, and nights bled into one another as I dug deeper into the depths of my own memories, my fascination growing with each encounter. The stories became my lifeblood, each voice echoing in the stillness of the night, soft voices of those who once lived, now shimmering delicately on the precipice of my own understanding. But somewhere in the quiet, curiosity gave way to something more profound. What if all my adventures in loving ghosts led me to something heavy? As autumn painted the trees in fiery colors, I felt drawn back to that house, the one that had cradled me once, humming with life and whispers. There I stood, facing the worn door that beckoned with nostalgia, the creak of its hinges like a whisper from the past, inviting me to step back into the warm shadows. The air felt thick with uncertainty, yet undeniably sweet, of forgotten memory lingering in its breath. When I crossed the threshold, it was like stepping back into an embrace. The house felt alive, breathing a warm welcome into my weary heart. Every floorboard held echoes of laughter, fleeting moments captured as shadows darted and played at my feet. I moved past the old staircase and into that ever-familiar living room, where furniture nestled comfortably among half-formed whispers. My senses heightened as though I were walking on the edge of reality, seeking out the ghostly margins. I pulled the worn velvet curtains aside to let in a sliver of morning light. Dust floated gracefully through the air, shimmering with the secrets held tightly within the memories of those past. It was a tender dance, a silent invitation to listen, to truly hear what had been left behind. As I explored, I was drawn towards the old photograph leaning against the wall. It depicted a family, smiling faces caught in a frame, bright eyes glistening with joy. But it felt more than just a snapshot. It felt like a tether pulling me toward the unknown depths of this house. I traced my fingers over the glass, and a familiar energy surged through me, wrapping around my heart in an icy grip. Before quickly dissipating, I half expected the faces to animate, turning toward me, sharing their laughter and sorrows. I recalled legends of shadow people, whispers of their existence flowing through quiet conversations. They linger in the corners where light rarely dares to tread, watching with quiet curiosity. Many say they are creatures of darkness, but others whisper with tenderness that they are merely lost souls, seekers fascinated by the living world, yearning to be remembered. That night, I lay in my old bedroom, the familiar creaks and groans of the house surrounding me as I drifted into slumber, chasing the fringes of dreams. The soft glow of the moon illuminated the room, casting gentle shadows that flickered like candle flames. I felt something change in the air, a sense of anticipation growing thicker than the silence. I woke suddenly, heart racing, drenched in the heavy fabric of unease. In the corner of my room stood a figure, slightly translucent, yet undeniably present. The shape felt reminiscent of memories I couldn't quite retrieve. Its form trembled lightly in the dim light, as though caught between longing and self-awareness. Timid, yet inviting. A flutter of recognition washed over me, a gentle, almost parental warmth radiating from its core, contrasting beautifully with the chill that had tightened around my chest. I found myself entranced, unable to look away, feeling as if we were merely two souls, echoing across the boundaries of existence. Tentatively, I reached out, my fingers brushing against the cool air where the figure resided, wrapping my mind around the possibility of having a conversation that transcended time and space. I felt a soft pulse vibrating in the air between us, a quiet understanding that spoke of both love and loss. It gestured toward the photograph I had glanced at earlier, those smiling faces becoming a landscape of joy and sorrow overlapping like the fading hues of twilight. A memory of laughter echoed through the room, washing over me, and suddenly I understood. It was the memory of a child, the warmth of her grandfather, long gone but lingering like a forgotten lullaby. The sensation pulled me deeper into the uncharted territory of the soul, revealing a thread connecting us. There was a choice to be made in that moment, a decision to step forward into the embrace of the past, or to retreat back into the anxieties that stalked me, defined by the limits of this life. I closed my eyes and let out a tremulous breath, my heart echoing the soft rhythms of that shared heartbeat, the intensity softening the fear that had once held me back. Slowly, I opened my eyes once more, and the figure began to dissolve into the shadows like smoke curling into the night air, embracing the inkiness of the familiar. The transition felt both heartbreaking and liberating, knowing that there would be a time for laughter again, beyond frayed edges. I could feel the warmth lingering in the air long after the figure had disappeared, a radiant glow left behind, whispering of connections forged and bonds eternal. Days disappeared into weeks, and I returned often to that quiet house, seeking the soft-spoken ghost that wandered between moments. I felt their embrace night after night. I would sit in the stillness, sometimes overwhelmed by a lingering sigh, knowing I had taken the first step toward understanding the complexities of existence, inviting the gentle weight of those forgotten moments back into my heart. Life swelled with echoes and fragments after that night, creating a symphony of memories alive with a heartbeat all their own. Each soft noise unraveled like threads of possibility, the creaking floorboards, fleeting shadows, and whispers carried in the brisk night air. I had learned to embrace the softness of it all, letting the echoes of love and loss swirl around me like a cherished melody. And so, as night folded into morning once more, I found myself drawn back to the house, heart fully embraced by fear and uncertainty. The moon hung low, resting close to the horizon, shadows draping themselves across the world in a gentle, curious grasp. And until dawn painted the sky, I remained there, chasing secrets of the past, the soft-spoken ghosts the stars would whisper to, holding space for those yet to dream. Good night, and don't forget to check under your bed.